Number 4 says, name all points which are images of 1, 0 under a rotation of 120. So the first thing that we have here, and this is, they want you to know, is it A, B, or C, or all of them, or which ones. So the first thing we have here is 1, 0 is right here. That's that point. If I rotated this point 120 degrees, so this is 90, this is 180, that's too much, so 120 is somewhere in here. So I rotated it 120. Now remember that this is on the unit circle. So what point is that? That point is cosine of your 120 sine of 120. So A is definitely it. Well, let's find out what that is. Cosine, so if I go cosine of 120, if I do cosine of 120, I get negative 0.5. If I do sine of 120, I get 0.866. So that means that this would be your negative 0.5 and this would be 0.866 right there. Alright, well, we could just go and say negative 1/2, that's negative 0.5, and then I can go the square root of 3 divided by 2 and just see if that's the same, which that is the same. So I know that that's true also. So you know that all 3 of them, so 4, the answer is A, B, and C. Well, now that I'm doing this one, I might as well do to find exact values, because that's exact values. So we have here, let's find the sine of this angle, just so we can see how it is. So we have this angle, and we have what angle is here. So I have 120, and what's left of that to get to 180 is 60. So 60, across from the 60 is my square root of 3. And then across from my 30 is my 1, and my hypotenuse is 2. So sine is opposite over hypotenuse, so 60 is the square root of 3 over 2. So that's the other way on how they got the square root of 3 over 2. So all of those answers are the answer. Number 7 was the next one that I was asked to do. Oops, that was 4. That was 4. So now let's do number 7. Number 7 says, for what value of x such that 0 is between 360 and x is not 57 does cosine of 57 equal cosine of x? Well, it's really asking you, remember 57 is here, where else is cosine positive? So how do I know that it's positive? Well, if you don't know, then go cosine of 57. And that gives me a positive number. So cosine, is that my x or my y? That's my x. So it's this one. So cosine is positive here, and it's positive here. How do I find the angle that's in this quadrant? Yes, 360 minus theta. So I take 360 minus my 57. 360 minus 57 gives me a 303. So 303 is my answer. and you can always check. So it said cosine 57, and that gives me that, and then do cosine of 303. And it also gives me that. So that is correct. That was number 7. Then I was asked to do number 8. Number 8 says to find an exact value for cosine of 110. So where is 110? Well, from here to here is how much? So again, from here to there is 180. All the way down here is 270, so that's too much. So 110 is here. So how much did we pass my 180? Well, I do 210 minus 180. So that's 30 degrees. So that's a 30. Across from 30 is 1. Square root of 3 is here, and that's a 2. So since it's my x is negative and my y is negative, I'm just going to put those there so I don't forget. And then cosine is so adjacent over hypotenuse. So my adjacent is the square root. So we have my adjacent, I'll move that up. So we have my adjacent, which is a negative square root of 3, over my hypotenuse of 2. And that's my answer. Alright, my next number I was asked to do was number 11. Number 11. So number 11 is up here. Number 11 says, what is the range of the sine function? So the first thing you want to do is you want to go through and you want to draw your sine function. Your sine function, remember, it starts and it goes up and down and it keeps curving, and your range, is your range your x or your y's? Your range is your y's. So that means what's the highest point and what's the lowest point? Yeah, 1 and negative 1. So my range is between negative 1, which is less than y, which is less than 1. That's my range. My domain is all real. And my last number that I'm going to do is number 14. Says to find x exactly. So I look and I say, can I use law? It's not a right triangle, and can I use the law of sine? So here I have an angle and a side, but there's no way else I can get that other side. So I'm going to use law of cosines. So I have c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared minus 2ab cosine of c. So the first thing I have to do is figure out what c is. C is my angle I'm using, so that's my x. So that means this c is one right across from it, so it's 8. So I have 8 squared is equal to 5 and 11 are my a and b. So 5 squared plus 11 squared minus 2, 5 times 11 cos of x. Alright, I'm going to move it up so you can see it. So now I'm going to take my calculator and I'm going to go 8 squared, which we know is 64. And I'm going to go 5 squared plus 11 squared. And I'm going to get 146 minus 2 times 5 times 11 is 110 cosine of x. What is my next step? Remember this, what is 110 doing to cosine x? It's multiplying. Yeah, so if you need to, you can put parentheses around that. That's multiplying itself. So my next step is to subtract 146. So I have 64 minus my 146. Gives me a negative 82. Next step is, yes, divide by a negative 110. So I have negative 82 divided by a negative 110. So I have cosine x is equal to 0.745. Now what do I do to get x? Yes, take the cosine inverse. So that's gone. So x equals cos inverse of I could have said my answer, huh? Cos inverse of my answer should be about 42 degrees. Alright, if there's any other ones of the, any questions you want me to YouTube, I'll try to if you want to leave them. If I have any time after school Wednesday, so you can watch them Wednesday night. I will tell you that there will be no time to ask any questions on Thursday. As soon as you come in, you will be taking that test. Alright, have fun and be good. Do your work. So you're either working on your you're doing the other packet over, or you're picking 20 to 25 problems off of the chapter review odds.